This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Warehouse.
Well, Merry Christmas, and have I got a present for you. For the first time in Australian sport, we're playing on Christmas Day, and what a way. Sydney and Melbourne, this is going to be an absolute beauty up there in the Harbour City. Let's look at a same game multi for the big game, and I think Sydney will get the job done. They're the best team in basketball, make no mistake about it. Derek Walton is one of the best point guards in the league. He'll go over 6.5 assists, and I expect Chris Goulding to step up in a big way. He's a big game player for Melbourne United. Enjoy the game. The Kings and United, and gamble responsibly.
You know the score. Stay in control, gamble responsibly.
Christmas, a day spent with those you love. A day filled with feast, family and fun. But tonight, it's going to be anything but festive. You see, these two families, they don't like each other very much.
Oh, he's out.
He is, ta-da.
They never have, and probably never will.
The Melbourne turkeys are flying north for the Christmas party.
What we do know is this. History is up for grabs for these two families, and neither side is taking a backward step.
Oh, Fabian Cox! That is enormous.
I got him, man. I got him good.
So, gather the family on the couch, because we're bringing Christmas Day home with a bang.
Yes! Retalme's off the back. Oh!
As the Sydney Kings host Melbourne United in the first ever NBL Christmas special.
Cox upstairs, returns to the scene of the crime and hammers down another one.
Who knows, we may even see a Christmas Day miracle.
Welcome to Kudos Bank Arena, where that picturesque Sydney Harbour sets the scene for Christmas Day basketball. And I'll tell you what, move over Clark Griswold, because Christmas Day entertainment just got a little bit better. The Sydney Kings and Melbourne United set to do battle on a picturesque afternoon. The Sydney Kings, well, they lead the series 2-0 over the season. And Melbourne United, that task gets a little bit tougher with their leader, their spirit, the heart and soul of the team, Chris Goulding, not going to be leading them out tonight as he is ill at home. Santa leading the Kings, but I'm leading this little contingent here. I'm flanked by some of the best in the business in Joe Grace Healy and Derek Rucker. Christmas Day basketball, does it get any better than this?
It most definitely does not. I haven't been so excited for Christmas Day in a long time. The energy in this building is electric, and it's just awesome to be part of a historic day for the NBL.
Well, imagine how excited I am to be working with the Bachelor incoming and the princess of the NBL media. This is going to be fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm used to giving out roses, but the man you see on screen right now, Xavier Cooks, MVP contender, is used to giving out buckets, especially against Melbourne United.
He's been so good for them this season. He really is the star of the organisation, averaging almost 16 points and 8 rebounds. And he loves this matchup. He put Isaac Humphries on a poster earlier this season, and you get the feeling he'd love to do that again today.
Oh, he most certainly would. And look, he's playing at a level now that is just amazing. And when he's out there, good things happen for his team. I'm not sure if he's going to win the Most Valuable Player award this season, but he's definitely the most impactful player in the NBL.
Well, he's under a little bit of an injury cloud right now, so I reckon Isaac Humphries might just be resting a little easier underneath the rim tonight. But one man who has been leading the charge for the resurgence of Melbourne United is Ray John Tucker. His family's in the building tonight, and I get the feeling if they're going to win, it's going to be on his shoulders.
He's really stepped up in the last few weeks, the last 3 games in particular, and it's resulted in wins for Melbourne. He's going to be extremely important for them tonight as well. Without Chris Goulding, you get the feeling he really needs to continue with that form if they're going to get the win.
Well, Joe, I'm impressed that you realize that about him and you actually spent some time watching any other team other than the Sydney Kings. But yes, he is the key to their success. Even if he's not scoring, his physical presence, his athleticism, and his sheer passion for the game are a threat to the opposition.
Well, we got superstars on either end of the floor, but we're not long until the tip-off here. So, Derek Rucker, you need to get a jog on, and while you're over there, you got to tell my man, Matty Russell, to get a new stylist, because this is probably the worst shirt in the building tonight. Take it away, Matty.
Felix, Joe, Derek, Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everybody watching. I blame this man. Peter Hooley said, let's wear our Christmas party shirts. All I can say is you must have had a very boring party in your house, Hools.
Well, I'm pretty sure Paul Smith stole mine. We'll get to see that
that in a minute, but what an exciting atmosphere. The people have spoken. This place is going crazy. I'm so excited for this matchup. It is missing Chris Goulding, but these two teams always produce some fireworks.
It's an honour to be calling the only sporting show in Australia on Christmas Day. Pete, more seriously, the champion starting fives show a big, big change for United.
Yeah, they do. Look, no Chris Goulding out with illness. Brad Newley playing against his old team. He'll slot into that starting lineup. Ray John Tucker's been balling. Shea Lee versus Derek Walton Jr. But it's Marcus Lee coming off the bench. He's been a terrific acquisition for this Melbourne United outfit, and he's going to be relied heavily upon because Xavier Cooks likes to eat in these kind of games.
His 10th game, Marcus Lee, 9.7 rebounds per game since arriving. The champion starting five for Sydney has been rock solid, Pete, over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it has, Matty. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the motto right here with the Sydney Kings starting lineup. I'm looking forward to seeing how they come out. Expect them to try and hunt some shots for DJ Vasiljevic, really trying to get him going early.
And that man, Derek Walton Jr., fresh from a 45-point game, 10 assists, not too shy from Derek Rucker's record, 51 points. So the scene is set. The first NBL to be played on Christmas Day, a slice of Australian sports history. Enjoy the hoopla. Let's go this Christmas. The Kings against United. Sydney sitting second on the ladder. Equal wins with New Zealand and Melbourne. 3 straight wins to be just outside the top 6, that play-in bracket. Justin Simon to open the scoring and invite the home crowd to make some noise.
And that will do wonders for his confidence, knocking down that early 3. But interesting defensive matchup early. They had Tucker on Derek Walton Jr. and Shea Lee on Dejan Vasiljevic.
It's Ray John Tucker for Isaac Humphries, who does have a sweet stroke beyond the perimeter.
Right back at you, Isaac Humphries. That'll do his confidence a whole lot of good. If he can continue to build that side of his game, it's going to bring the big fellas away from the hoop, and that's going to really open up things for Melbourne United.
The rebound to Peatling off the Simon miss. We'll hear more from Isaac Humphries at the end of the first quarter, showing us his many talents, in fact. So stay tuned for that one. Great to have you watching wherever you are around Australia, around the world. Ray John Tucker against Derek Walton Jr. Just one of the attractions here. Shea Lee lets loose with a 3-ball and slaps his thigh in frustration. Xavier Cooks whipping the pass across court, and they do well to keep possession, Sydney. Vasiljevic back for Cooks, who was looking to get airborne early, and instead wears one in the solar plexus.
He's copped that right in the gut. You can see he's trying to regather his breath, but a bit of deja vu there, Ruck.
It certainly was, and they talk about the ball finding certain players. Well, Xavier Cooks always seems to find Isaac Humphries, and as we see it, an unfortunate collision there, right in the pelvic region.
And look, we've got to give credit to Isaac Humphries because he's been on the wrong end of a couple of posters.
And he keeps coming back.
He keeps coming back. That's what you want to see. If you're Melbourne United team Vickerman, you want to have a guy like that who's not afraid to put his body on the line, and he backs himself over the course of the season. He's going to have more blocks than posters being put on.
Pete Hooley,
to contest him.
You stole my Christmas tinsel, but I'd like to steal Derek Rucker's jacket. What about that for a picture of sartorial elegance? D-Ruck, was that at the back of the wardrobe, or have you gone straight to the shops for that one?
Oh, I went straight to my man Will Valor up in Brisbane. He hooked me up, and it is a beautiful jacket. Very festive, Pete. Feels good.
It doesn't. You haven't filled the arms out like you used to.
God. Always got to take away something from a brother.
Ray John Tucker for Brad Newley, called into the starting lineup, but unable to open his account there. Derek Rucker, 411 NBL games as Suarez acknowledges the pass from Xavier Cooks. That was a thing of beauty.
Point Cooks, that's what he can do. Not too many power forwards in the league can grab a rebound and go and finish the break like that.
Vasiljevic cleans up off the ring. And this man, what form he showed in that double OT game, but Humphries, Swat, get it away.
And that's what he does so well. We really saw him probably reach his peak as a rim protector in that season with Adelaide that was cut short due to injury. But if he can start to supply that type of energy for Melbourne United, it will be awesome.
Averages nearly 2 blocks a game.
Isaac Humphries, one of several Melbourne players to spend stints at Sydney, including this man, Brad Newley. Started his career all those years ago at the Townsville Crocs. 20 years as a pro baller. Rajon Tucker fouled by Dejan Vasiljevic on the 3-ball as well. So Rajon gets a trip to the stripe.
Vasiljevic going back to Chase Buford saying kicked his feet out. Doesn't like the call. And look, they're going under. Rajon Tucker, but he shoots 39% for the 3. In the first 6 or 7 rounds, it's probably a fair call. Struggled to find his stroke, but he's been lights out now from outside. I'm not sure about going under and attempting. If he feels good about himself, he's in for a big night.
Well, that's right, and we saw what he did when he put 33 up just a few weeks ago. And to send this guy to the line right now, this could really open up some things personally as he knocks down the first. And an early sub, it looks like XRM is going to be getting into this game.
Xavier Bratan-Mays. So Tucker, rock solid so far.
And Pete, a game like this, a massive event in NBL history. If I was playing, I would go with my coach and say, like, look here, coach, I'm going to give you my best tonight, but don't pull me out the game until I say so, man.
Playing 40?
Yep, 40.
Well, I think Russell mentioned your career high. How many assists in that game? Doesn't matter.
51 points career high, 24 assists career high.
Oh, not in the same game.
48-minute games. But if you break it down, that's still 20 assists across a 40-minute game. So quite the standard. The 411 game NBL veteran, former MVP. D. Ruckgate to have you in commentary alongside championship winner Pete Hooley, bringing you these Christmas Day hoops provided there by Xavier Cooks.
And Pete, both teams look really sharp to me, and it's great being here at Courtside, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, you kind of see the way they're going about it. And Melbourne United played just 2 nights ago, which can be a big positive because you're feeling fresh, riding the momentum. And Sydney Kings, well, they had a nice little break. You remember that game we spoke about, Derek Walton Jr.
I'm sure Xavier Bratan-Mays would like to land an early shot. He's been skinny in the 2 games against Sydney so far. 6 points game 1, 2 points game 2 on 3 of 15 shooting.
Well, his role's kind of changed now that they've been at full strength, where he's coming off the bench now and he's trying to facilitate a lot more. We know they had that question at the start. When Shaley was out, they needed that kind of pass-first point guard to get Chris Goulding shots, to get Rajon Tucker. With no Chris Goulding, he's going to need to score the ball. And there's another block for Isaac Humphries, but falls right back to that man who he eats glass for fun.
He certainly does, and he looks really energized. I know there was an injury cloud coming into this game, but he looks fine. He pushed the ball nice in transition. He's moving well, Matty.
Yeah, Melbourne backing up for their second game inside 48 hours after the open-air contest on Friday night. Shea Ely gets the right sort of role, but Sydney have had an 8-day breather, allowing Xavier Cooks to get over that ankle injury, and he spent the last 3 days in a children's hospital nursing his daughter Naya, who thankfully is out. Simon there with the N1 to come, so great news for the Cook family that Naya is out of hospital and able to watch Dad deliver on Christmas Day.
Yeah, he posted something on his Instagram, which is really touching, so it is special to see him out here enjoying it, and I'm sure she will be as well. But what impressed me so far is the off-ball movement from the Sydney Kings. No one's standing still. Everybody's cutting off the ball. Justin Simon, not a known three-point shooter, so he's trying to get to the rack away from the ball, and good things are opening up. We mentioned the injury cloud. The only injury I'm worried about right now is Santa. I'm not sure if you saw it. He ran out with the Sydney Kings, pulled a hammy on his second layup. Oh, pulled the hammy straight out the back.
He's had a big 48 hours.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done yet either. There's parts of the Northern Hemisphere that are still awaiting presence, and there's a few hazards in the Northern Hemisphere at the moment. Just quietly, Santa. As we see a turnover from Melbourne. Simon quickly. Xavier Cooks.
Wow.
Sums it up perfectly, Derek Rucker. What an athlete. What an X-factor in this league.
He just hung in the air, took the contact, and then had great dexterity at the end there with a little bit of English on it, Pete Hooley, to finish nicely and draw the foul.
Not much you can do with Xavier Cooks out on the break. Too long, too athletic.
So a timeout call. We're going to come back to Derek Rucker, who wondered whether Xavier Cooks would be league MVP. I'll ask D-Ruck, who he has on top at the moment, very shortly. But we have Felix Von Hoff standing by courtside.
Thank you, Matty. I've got some very special guests here with Major David from the Salvation Army and Paul Smith, the owner of the Sydney Kings, or as I like to say, Santa and the Grinch over here. We'll start off with you, Major David. this is a tough time of year for a lot of people. It's a happy Christmas time, but a lot of people do it tough, and you guys really come in handy at this time of year.
Yeah, there's lots of people doing life really tough this Christmas. We've helped over 100,000 families this Christmas with food, gifts, toys, vouchers, and we're really supportive today of Sydney Kings and Paul Smith and their help, because it's helping raise money for the Salvos, which helps a lot of people today.
Well, aside from just raising money, Paul, you've vouched for this game, you've wanted this game for a while. It gives something for people to do that maybe don't have a huge amount to do on Christmas Day.
Yeah, look, I think it gives something to everyone. People that want to gather around the television, come to the game. More importantly, the opportunity to give as well. So give to the Salvation Army and give generously as well.
Paul, we love what you're doing with the Kings, and you're pretty happy what Xavier Cooks is doing out there. So thank you, boys. Let's get back to the game.
Thank you, Felix. Well done. I thought my shirt was bad, but Paul Smith, the majority share owner of the Kings, makes it look fantastic. And the hats, boys, all for a good cause. They sold plenty of them pre-game. Every dollar helps the Salvation Army do their wonderful work. And it's great to have the Kings and the Salvos in tandem here on Christmas Day.
It's terrific. Tell you what, that shirt, I'm not sure Paul Smith owns a normal coloured shirt.
Now, it's lost by Derek Walton Jr. We should mention Men's Club, our clothing and apparel sponsors. They have nothing to do with my shirt or Paul Smith's shirt, but Men's Club.
I had something in the works, just couldn't get there in time. That one was on me. I was excited to pull it out, but then once I saw what Ruck was going to be wearing.
Well, you're a new father, Pete. You've got a lot of excuses this time of year, you know?
I haven't pulled it out yet.
Oh, okay.
So nearly halfway through this opening quarter, a very handy lead to the home team. 16-8, Xavier Ratan-Mays off the bench and into the action, as is David Okwera. Another watch, can't clean up the loose ball. And again, the luck is running with Sydney. Simon can't finish. Suarez didn't receive the ball, and just what Melbourne needed. A little bit of luck at the defensive end as Malawach goes off the rim and away from the target. Glover quickly for Suarez.
I just have to look after the ball a little bit. This team is too potent offensively in transition. When you let them get out and run, because anybody can run the break. We saw Xavier Cooks do it. Justin Simon, he's a tremendous defender, especially off the ball. He gets his hands in deflections in the passing lane. As Zach Triplett, young fella, comes in to the game. Late inclusion with Chris Golding out, so flew up today. Sharpshooter.
21-year-old development player. What a highlight. Not expecting to play. Golding goes down ill. Our thoughts with Chris Golding watching back in Melbourne. Hope you're well soon, Chris. There's Quatnoy.
Nice little work there from Derek Walton Jr. Seeing everything out there on the floor.
He's got that thing on a string. Walton Jr. plays hoop like he plays with a yo-yo. That thing is unbelievable, his handle.
Ray John Tucker camped in the corner and he drops the tray.
It's almost 40%. It's almost lights out. You have to respect it. It's been a few weeks now since he's been shooting like this.
Good D from Marcus Lee, not conceding the foul. Enough contact, though, to strip Noy of the ball. And look at that from Triplets.
It's tough, Pete, going back to your point about defending Tucker, because we know his explosiveness, his ability to finish on the rim.
Suarez.
Marcus Lee might have dodged a little bullet there. I think Vickham was screaming next to us. You got to close out. Suarez can shoot the three ball.
Okwera has fond memories of this gym. Big game here last season. Here's Ratan-Mays. Again, the target is Tucker. But he can't find his target. Strong defensive board from Quatnoy. The memories of his match winner here against Cairns, strong in the memory, as is Sean Bruce. His match winner on the buzzer against Illawarra. Great highlights at Kudos Bank Arena. And we see Walton deliver another one.
He's filling it up right now. Derek Walton Jr. got a couple of assists. Knocked down the three ball. And we should mention with Chris Golding out, Dave Barlow, another one, is out from Melbourne United with concussion. So two key pieces. They're veterans. Their whole leadership group.
The runner banked by Ray John Tucker. Let's have a look at the Amy replay here. Just what Melbourne needed. Firstly, well, this was not needed. Derek Walton Jr. But the answer from Ray John Tucker next play was pretty handy, Derek.
Very nice. He's really starting to apply himself from game to game more than I believe he was earlier in the season. He teased us. He gave us some great performances. Then I thought he was a bit chilled, Pete. But now he's starting to really put it on and serve us what we expected. I think maybe the comparisons to Jalen Adams from last season were maybe a bit premature.
Okay, well, as Sydney listen to this timeout, let's see how well the Kings know each other when it comes to their Christmas Kris Kringle.
So I'm picking a couple names to give them Christmas presents. Let's see. First one I picked out was Sean Brucey. Sean Brucey, I'm going to get him a new pair of shoes. He always is breaking his shoes because he's so quick up and down the court.
Xavier Cooks. He's always commenting on my jewelry. I give my boy X a bust down, you know what I'm saying? I give him a bust down rollie, you know, some type of tennis bracelet or something. I give my boy right with some jewelry, some flash.
Tim, my teammate Timmy. I think I'm going to start praying that his Brazil can win the World Cup in 2026, so that can be his Christmas present from me.
Justin Simon. I think I'm going to give my boy a, you got to be a good gift or just a gift in general? Either one. Think about getting my boy some coal. My boy needs some coal. I'm going to put some coal in the stocking for him.
Chase Buford. I'm going to give him some cardigans. I think everyone's talking so much about these cardigans right now. I really like it. I'm a big fan of it. So some more cardigans, Chase, coming your way if I had some more money.
Oh, Chase loves a cardi. And I'll come back to the coal. Here's Ray John Tucker flushing over the top of Galloway.
Straight athlete. His vertical jump doesn't need any run-up. I'll tell you what, talking about teammate gifts, and a teammate says, does it have to be a good gift or a gift in general? You're probably in a bit of trouble.
And then he came up with a lump of coal. That's a really bad gift these days, apparently.
Well, what's worse, a lump of coal or a hope? DJ's gift of hope for the 2026 World Cup to Suarez. I don't know, man.
The proud Brazilian, Tim Suarez, that was a little uppercut there.
Yeah.
Rather than a genuine gift, but you wouldn't expect anything less. 2:20 left in the first here at Kudos Bank Arena in the Harbour City on Christmas Eve, or Christmas night. It was a Christmas Eve game last night, won by Adelaide. It's Glover. Shows how dangerous he can be outside.
He's starting to really find where he fits in this team, averaging just under 6 points a game, Angus Glover, but he shoots the three ball, another one at 40%. It's called for a foul there. You don't mind that, just trying to be aggressive. Shaley comes on the turnout. Sean Bruce, terrific backup point guard. He's got the ultimate trust to be able to shoot that ball.
As we wait for this inbound, let's go to Joe Healy.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Was just listening to the Kings timeout there, Chase Buford. Pretty happy with where they're at the moment. He is conscious of the impact that Ray John Tucker is having out there, though. He said, guys, let's not let him get downhill. We've got to keep clogging it up in D, as they did just then, and also keep crashing the boards.
Xavier Rattan-Mays forced into a tough shot late in the clock.
Had to shoot it. Shot clock running down.
Great defensive possession by the Kings.
Bruce to Xavier Cooks, guarded by Rattan-Mays. Back for Hunter. He collects his own rebound, gets the bucket, and the and one. That's fight, that's persistence from Sydney.
Melbourne United actually played that pretty well. You saw Xavier Rattan-Mays. He was banging bodies with Xavier Cooks down low. There's a mismatch. They brought the help in late. If you're David Aquera, you've got to crack down on the guy who's coming across to help. You see here, Rattan-Mays did a good job. Marcus Lee in a perfect position for that spin. Aquera's got to duck down on Jordan Hunter, who's in that little dunker spot, ready to finish. And Xavier Cook's having a bit of a smile because that is an assist gone begging. You've got to finish that.
One of the competitions we're running here in the NBL in this season is the chance to go and party with Shaq in the US, the NBA great. Just scan that QR code and you are in the running to fly to the States for a trip of a lifetime. Surely a party with Shaq would make anything you do on Christmas night look positively mundane, Derek.
No doubt, the big fella, Shaq Diesel. Outstanding promotion.
Ray John Tucker for three. No good. Again, the rebound uncontested.
Look at Xavier Cooks. Look at that push, Matty. That's how you get the ball out the net and go from A to B.
And then forcing Xavier Rattan-Mays to concede the soft foul.
Well, he's going to send him to the line. Again, you put your hand up, you're trying to slow down the break. Xavier Cooks, that's the one blemish in his game. His shooting, especially at the free throw line. He actually shot the three ball okay this season, 35%, but just 48% from the stripe. So in the end, it's probably not a bad foul for Rattan-Mays, but he's going to have to play a big game. So it's one that now you can't be as aggressive on the defensive end yourself, because you pick up another one. all of a sudden that silly one comes back to haunt you.
And Pete, this is a perfect example right here of 3 possessions with 1:09 left. Melbourne United's gone a bit dry offensively, only 15 at this stage in the quarter, and this is vital that they finish out with 2 buckets and a stop.
Xavier Cooks misses both to stay on 8 points, 3 of 4 from the field, but free throw troubles the Xavier. Here's Ray John Tucker whipping it out to Shea Illy off mark.
I thought Ray John Tucker had bad intentions on that drive, set his feet. Oh, he was about to take off.
Now Illy, final minute of the first quarter. Melbourne trying to stay in it. And this time Vasiljevic retrieves the miss. Turning Xavier Ratan Mays away, and Isaac Humphries. There's a wall at the end for Dejan Vasiljevic. Okwera fed by Ray John Tucker.
3 blocks already for Isaac Humphries, and they probably missed one. I think it was 4. He had that one on Xavier Cooks, who thought it was a foul.
Correct.
And this is what you do. You give up a poster every now and then. You live with that because you're an elite rim protector.
And I believe, Pete, we're going into possession 6 here of the 3 that I mentioned.
Each guy wanted to get that quick 2 for 1. Shea Illy, then Vasiljevic.
Holding foul called on Melbourne. Okwera.
And it is understandable. This is a big event. The players would be bursting with adrenaline. It's going to take a little bit of time to settle down. But back in the day, we always played on on Boxing Day or the 27th. And I hated that extra time off. I would much prefer to play this game on Christmas Day, because by the time you came back on the 26th or the 27th, even that one day, that ball felt like a triangle when you went to handle it again.
I'll tell you what, part of those Boxing Day games, open airs, back in 2018, we had training on the morning of Christmas Day anyway. So,
Dino.
I mean, you have to do something. Can't just roll in fresh.
How good did the open air game look on Friday night? And what a game. Melbourne beating Cairns. It came down to the last shot of the contest.
Could be in the back pocket for a Christmas game in the future. Nice little open air venue.
Absolutely. 29-17. Really tidy start by the home team. Shea Illy thought about pulling up for 3. Gives that to Isaac Humphries. He's off the mark. He admonishes himself. And there's a comeback required from Melbourne. The Kings, at the pointy end of the ladder, lead it up in the first term, 29-17. The final shot went to Isaac Humphries. We know he's a very good basketballer, but his talents are not limited to the court. He's not bad behind the microphone either. Have a listen.
When Christ was born.
I want to just give a big Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to my family and all the United family that I have.
Just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. I hope, the next year coming is better than the last year.
Merry Christmas, Melbourne United fans. Enjoy Christmas hoops.
Wishing you a Merry Christmas to all the Melbourne United and NBL fans out there. Have a ripping day.
The Emerald City, Sydney Harbour. Christmas days come in many different shapes and sizes. However you've spent yours, I hope it's been kind to you. Thank you for sharing some of your Christmas day with us as the NBL plays on Christmas Day for the first time. Ray-John Tucker to Illy. We'll go through the first half numbers in a moment as Tucker steps back from Galloway. And that's an air ball that falls to Galloway.
That's not going to get it done against the Sydney Kings. I know they were trying to get through a set, but settled for a tough contest, fading away in the corner over Galloway, who's a nice athlete. But first quarter, we know the dominance on the glass, 16 rebounds to 8. Melbourne United took 13 threes in the opening 10 minutes, and Chris Goulding isn't playing.
And how many of those 13 did they make, Pete?
Just 2 of 13. And again, it kind of is a bit of deja vu for me back to last year, Game 3 of the semi-final series where Chris Goulding was ruled out against Tasmania, and they took more threes than they had for the majority of their season without their sharpshooter.
And you get sucked into thinking that you're going to make the next one. I'm going to make the next one. Until he pulls up with a little bank shot. But Pete, 2 for 13. There must be some type of recognition and communication amongst the players on Melbourne United. Let's get some different looks.
Well, a lot of it you can see is the way the Kings are going underneath the ball screen. They're trying to really tempt them into shooting the three because they know if there's no Chris Goulding, there's no elite shooters out there. Jordan Hunter sends that one packing from Marcus Lee.
Marcus Lee's got to attack the rim harder than that. He's got to go up and try and punch that thing hard.
Well, Sydney didn't have a block in the first quarter. 3 for the game were all made by Isaac Humphries. Jordan Hunter enters that stats department. His game-high score, 10 points to Ray-John Tucker, and now Xavier Cooks. Xavier also with 4 rebounds, couple of assists, so set to make quite the mark again. The offensive foul called on Melbourne, a hooking foul.
Well, that's called on Shea Elliott. Marcus Lee thought it was an illegal screen, but having a look at it here, Shea Elliott, he's calling it, Nico Fernandez calling it for the little hook up there. He tried to bait Sean Bruce into it. In the end, I think it's a pretty good call. And while we're on, no Chris Goulding is their best three-point shooter. Arguably their second best three-point shooter, Dave Barlow, isn't playing as well. When his feet are set, he's money, but someone has to control this man. If he sees a Melbourne United jersey or a Melbourne United icon on the schedule, he is ready to roll.
Well, there's no matchup out there. Marcus Lee can't check him, and we know that Peatling probably doesn't want to see much of Xavier Cooks, unfortunately.
Does anybody?
Keanu Pender?
Now, that brings me back to the discussion regarding your comment pre-game. You didn't know whether Xavier Cooks would be league MVP. So you're obviously leaning towards Mitch Creek or a Keanu Pender, but there's plenty of time for Xavier to change your mind, right?
Exactly. I was just worried about the fact that Xavier has missed some games, and that would be the only thing that would detract from his standing in the MVP race. But, certainly, let's take MVP out of it. As I said, he is the most impactful player in the competition. No one can do what he does.
Good take there from Ray-John Tucker. That's better. If they're going to go underneath the ball screen, you need the bigs to re-screen because so often teams are taught if there's a re-screen, as we see there, DJ Vasiljevic has to fight over it. You can go under the first one, but if it gets deep as well, below the three-point line where you can't go underneath it, then you get Ray-John Tucker to get downhill and use his athleticism and strength.
And intelligence. He was able to read and adapt quickly. He's made the adjustment, and we're only early in the second quarter, Pete. So now let's see if they change up how they defend Tucker based on if he gets into that key like that once or twice.
If you're new to watching the NBL, there's a promotion that's been long-running, courtesy of the major sponsor, Hungry Jacks. If the visiting team misses consecutive 3 throws, Hungry Jacks to every ticketed member in the home state.
I'm ready to
Every
roll.
basketball fan in the home state.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm ready to roll today with some free Hungry Jacks. Not too much else open.
Not much open at all, Pete.
So I'll take a cheeseburger. Jordan Hunter. He's added that to his game. Started to get confident in the NBL 1.
Sure. He's had a really good season. It's good to see him healthy. He's a good guy. Plays the game the right way.
36-22, a 14-point deficit. Rajon Tucker can't cut it, and this dominance of the rebounding continues. The latest going to Quatnoy. Simon gave the ball a great look, but it jumped out.
Oh, my. He's a special athlete.
He is, especially out in transition. We talk about Xavier Cooks getting out in transition. Rajon Tucker just as exciting. No-look pass from Derek Wallen. That's a true no-look pass. We see a couple of guys around the league who throw it directly to their chest and then turn away after they've caught it.
And a foul at the other end on Tucker in his shooting motion, so he'll go to the line for 2, with the fans hoping that Hungry Jack's giveaway comes into play at some stage during this contest, maybe not from the hands of this man. Very assured at the stripe there.
Got a nice stroke. You look at that ball rotating. Good spin velocity, Pete. I'm not sure if you're down with those types of technical terms.
I'm just thinking about Hungry Jacks right now. I am.
It took you an hour to get your Uber Eats today. Nice rebound, Tucker.
There is no hot chips by the end of this game. I'll be cheering against the free throws.
Angus Glover looking for Simon, who cuts baseline.
Timeout. That's just too easy.
Yeah, 15, the advantage to the Sydney Kings. Undermanned and down on the scoreboard. Melbourne with work to do. Glover, great vision to spot that move from Justin Simon. And the Kings are doing it comfortably for the time being.
Coach Dean Vickerman had some not so Christmassy, cheery words for his team as they came off the bench. Matty, it's great to be back in commentary with you, back here in the venue.
Good crowd in on Christmas Day. It's hard to be festive when you're down by 15. A man who's always festive, Felix von Hoff.
The Festivus never stops here, but it might have stopped if you had to drive the whole way from Orange to get here from the game today. That's a very early Christmas morning.
Yeah, mate, we love it. You can't get enough of the Kings basketball. We'd travel even further if we had to.
You can't get enough of the Kings basketball, but somehow you've managed to wear every colour but purple and yellow today.
Very much so.
Very much. So we got the kids over here as well. They've been brought. Now, guys, obviously Christmas morning, did you get the gifts that you wanted?
Not really. I mean, I wanted a watch.
You wanted a watch? Oh, well, you know what? Come on, Mum and Dad. The kids get what the kids want, so you're going to get a watch. You were happy with your gifts?
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
And in terrible news as well, the jacket's coming. There's actually another daughter who you guys have just shafted and thrown to the other end of the court.
So we can get free tickets to get here. She's sweeping up the sweat, so we get to sit here and enjoy the game.
I'll tell you what, they always find a way to do it. This place is packed with people from all over the country today. It's fantastic, but we got a basketball game to play. Back to you, Matty.
Now, fellas, I think that's a legal binding contract, that watch, because he's about to be on The Bachelor. When you give away a rose, that means something. You can't take it back. So if he's giving away a watch, we're going to make sure that that watch stays.
Well, let me mention another thing. If that kid's got a watch from Felix, it's got to be a Rolly.
Absolutely.
Well, that's
where from. One of the Barley specials. I suspect. Here's Xavier Ratan Mays. Rajon Tucker into Angus Glover, and they do enough.
That is exceptional one-on-one defense from Angus Glover, who he's hurting right now. Took that one straight in the chest, went straight vertical. He's an athlete himself. That's what you love to see, two athletes going at it.
Am I being parochial if I say the two Illawarra products combined brilliantly there in
Yeah,
defense?
you're being parochial, Matt. Yes, you are.
Xavier Cooks, Angus Glover.
But I didn't like... Oh, here we go.
Look at this. Giving it straight back. There was no chance that was staying on longer than that camera cut.
But I tell you, seriously, how good would a road trip from Orange down here on a day like today in New South Wales be? The Christmas road trip through Bathurst, lift go over the Blue Mountains, stopping at Lura. Great road trip. Rajon Tucker, they're on the road and they're not done yet.
He's playing a lone hand right now on the scoreboard. Here's Rajon Tucker. 17 points. Shaley has 4. Isaac Humphries hit that 3 early on and Aquera 2. That's it for the 26 points. It's the Rajon Tucker show.
Rajon Tucker, he's played every game so far for Melbourne this season, averaging 17 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. So already he's achieved his season average, Pete. 17 points he sits on this evening.
He's going to take a breather now as he walks by us. He spent Vickman saying it's going to be a quick one. Catch your breath.
50 NBA games for Ray John, spending time at Utah, Philly, Denver, Milwaukee. He's brought that talent to Melbourne and the NBL. Strong from Cooks, couldn't get enough of the rebound though, and it goes for Isaac Humphries as they turn it over again.
That was close to landing in our lap. Isaac Humphries just trying to get it back to one of the guards. And mentioned Ray John Tucker. He's actually got a pretty funny story of his time at Wisconsin Herd, Milwaukee Bucks G League affiliate. Got a text from Giannis.
Right.
To say congratulations on being signed when he wasn't. So he tells a pretty funny story about that.
Now, oh boy. Angus Glover from a long way outside. The long bomber delivers again. Big Red. Rutan Mays, the spin move. Couldn't beat Simon. He goes for Peatling.
Danger times, Matty.
Absolutely, especially considering Sydney's domination of Melbourne so far this season. Simon over the top of Rutan Mays and Isaac Humphries. He gets it to go. He signals the two. Alarm bells ringing for Melbourne. No Christmas bells, no jingles, just alarms.
Good finish there from Isaac Humphries. That's going to count.
And Pete, this is one of those games where you've just got to play basketball well, and that's what Sydney's been doing the past 2 or 3 possessions. They're just coming down and balling. They play well with each other. Now they're full of confidence with this lead. Melbourne United's got to make an adjustment, change the defense up.
They're playing free. I mean, look no further than that Angus Glover 3 ball. Early in the shot clock from the Bunnings logo.
Yeah.
Just turns, shoots it because he's already knocked one down and nothing but the bottom of the net. And Marcus Lee was just about to check into the game. Isaac Humphries finished that. Dean Vickman quickly sat him down.
So Melbourne turned to defence. No Chris Golding, no David Barlow. The game less than 48 hours ago. Some of the squad travelled last night, some travelled this morning. But all those excuses count for nothing. They need the W. They've won 3 in a row. They're playing catch-up in the competition this season. They need to catch up here. Rutan Mays. Again, a turnover from Melbourne, then the foul on Peatling. And it's all going awry with 4 minutes left in the half.
Rutan Mays, he's being awfully passive. I think this is the game without Chris Golding that he's got to get back to that aggressive mindset. We know he can create through his own shot and he likes to get deep into the paint.
Pete, he hasn't hit a bucket yet. And they need more than that.
The foul. That's what I was saying. It can be a continuation because of travel.
Chase Buford, the Kings coach, with his legendary father RC in the house tonight, out from the States to spend Christmas with his son. And we'll hope to speak with Dad as the broadcast continues.
Pete, getting back to Rutan Mays, he's 0 of 2 from the field. 1 assist. He has more talent.
Oh, we've seen it. We've seen it.
And right now, your team needs it. You guys are fighting to climb up the ladder, and this is a game where you can catch a home team somewhat sleepy. Now, this team isn't sleepy. They've come out energized. You've got to find an adjustment to get your team back in the game.
I'll tell you what, I don't think they had no shoot around nothing today. Just rolled in, the Sydney Kings.
That's what I like.
Just come wake up Christmas morning, roll into the game, 6:30 p.m.
Open the presents, open the locker room door, and then open proceedings.
I mean, it's a historic night for everybody involved, and it's so special to be part of it. But let's give a big thank you to everyone who has helped put this game on, especially the teams, especially the coaches, the players who are away from their families, and all the venue staff here. Takes a lot of effort.
So many volunteers and people that have been so helpful getting us here. Our job is the easy part.
Absolutely, and all the technical staff around the stadium, back at headquarters. I hope you've had a good Christmas. Our support crew, you've certainly earned it. Thank you very much. Yeah, Liam Santamaria, our colleague, summed it up magnificently last night when he thanked the teams and the coaches and their families, not just over Christmas, but New Year's, the festive period. We're in holiday mode of sorts, but these men are right in the middle of their season.
Well, yeah, it was last night. Adelaide 36ers and the Phoenix. Phoenix have to fly back on Christmas morning, and one of those, the coaches and players with families, is Aquera hits a much-needed 3 in the corner. And even tomorrow, Boxing Day game, we have a bit of training the day before. They all come together to put on these shows for us. We're very grateful.
Boxing Day tomorrow, Tasmania against New Zealand, so the Breakers travelling on Christmas Day. Here's Xavier Cooks. Thought about going over the top of the tower that is Isaac Humphries. Justin Simon chases his own missed shot. Noquera comes away for Melbourne. I've gone down heavily twice to Sydney so far United. There's Isaac Humphries just beating the clock.
Started a really good defensive possession. Isaac Humphries, he kept retreating when Xavier Cooks was coming at him. That's what you've got to do because of his ability to make a quick spin move when he puts the ball on the floor, and then he backed himself, used his strength, patience, that little chicken wing with the right elbow to not make Xavier Cooks come up and try and block it.
And created great separation. Down on the other end, though, prior to that, he or Aquera boarded that shot, which led to the break. Melbourne United with a little bit of a fight back here, Matty.
Xavier Cooks, though, is hurting them. 12 points, 5 rebounds. We'll take a closer look at Xavier Cooks later in the broadcast. He has delivered so many audacious highlights this season. Here's a little tease of what's to come later on.
Xavier Cooks, that is enormous. Dunk of the year. My goodness. Get some of that.
The way I play with so much balled up energy, and I'm just always trying to release it pretty much. And in that one moment, you just throw it down and all this energy just explodes. And I always want to be that guy to play it cool when I dunk and not go crazy, but my energy and my emotion, I just can't help but scream.
Now, we all know that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. What about Dunk Hard, starring Xavier Cooks? The owner likes it, and I know you two loved it as well.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's not just that one. He had another one on this venue against the Adelaide 36ers. Nice little move before. He's one of the most exciting players, especially when he gets in the air.
Great shoulder mobility and flexibility, how he can cock that ball way back, and then he's got the length to finish with force and accuracy.
The social media banter between the clubs has gone up through the gears over the last few years.
Well, don't mention that to Tom from MySpace. He'd be flat that he didn't get the opportunity to jump into that.
Ray John Tucker. The shot was short. And Tucker says, I'll have a go myself. Same result. I'll watch. Couldn't clean up. And here's Sydney again. Suarez denied from behind by Shaili despite a clear size mismatch.
Well, Shaili, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. But he can do that as well. He's a sneaky athlete.
They missed him when he was out with those concussion issues, didn't they, Pete? And since he's returned, their strike rate with Shaili has been outstanding.
And we've talked about it all year long. We're kind of like a broken record. Go back to the start of the year when this Melbourne United team was put together, and you rank the importance of guys they cannot afford to lose. Yeah. Number one is Shaili. He epitomises Melbourne United culture on both ends, and you see what he does with his presence on the floor. Number two is Ariel Hukporti, because he's the next star. He comes in as the next star who's literally irreplaceable, and he went down with that Achilles, and we look forward to seeing him in that comeback. And then obviously Chris Golding, who you can make a very strong case for being number one. Exactly. But for those reasons, that's why they have struggled, and now they look a lot better with Yuli in the lineup.
We've got to thank Latrobe Financial and the Legends. Latrobe giving us the chance to win $50,000. Enter now at nbl.com.au/legends. How's your shooting from mid-court? Well, make a couple, record them, send them in, you're in the running. $50,000. That'll buy at least 2 of those shirts or jackets you're wearing, Derek Rucker.
Oh, just one, actually, what he told me. Flash the receipt before the game.
Well, Melbourne United have done a good job in this quarter of not only getting more pressure on the ball, but they're not firing from the three. They've only taken 6 threes in the 8 minutes we've played so far, so their focus offensively has changed, and we see that's probably helped them defensively. So many people think basketball is just a one-way thing, but your offense really does. And
slip from Walton Jr. He needs an option. He elects to use a good one. Xavier Cooks back to Walton Jr. And they can't make it work. Good point, Derek. They were down by 15 points, mid-teens, and now they've got it back to 8. Melbourne. They've made the adjustments. Astutely coached by Dean Vickerman. And they're fighting hard now. Newley, the veteran, put it on the floor, lost it. Walton draws the foul.
Rajon Tucker asking for a challenge here. I tell you what, looked like a couple of calls that might have been missed.
Yeah, I agree, Pete.
So you hear him, Dean Vickerman, he says, look, I agree with you, but I've got no timeouts. You need a timeout in the bank to be able to challenge it. You see here, Walton Jr. goes straight into him, and
that's not a foul.
I'll tell you what, that's what, you need a timeout in the bank to be able to challenge it. So unfortunately for Rajon Tucker, he's going to send Walton Jr. to the line.
And we know Pete is the guru of the replay center.
Well, you say that. I'm just glad we can actually cross the replay center now, because my strike rate right now, no good. Really? I don't think it has been for the last 3 years.
Yeah, Scotty Butler standing by in the replay centre. If we need straightening up, clarification, he's there to give it. A great addition to the NBL broadcasts. And we hope all the newcomers watching tonight are enjoying the access to Chase Buford, to the replay centre if required, and to the athletes of Melbourne and Sydney.
2 turnovers in the same possession for Melbourne United. Ever so slightly halted the momentum they were starting to put together in this second quarter.
Tucker spinning away from Bruce. Newley uses Rattan Mays. Late in the clock now. Rattan Mays has to go. His shots aren't working so far. Aguero grabs the offensive board and makes good.
I give Dean Vickerman a lot of credit for about, 5-6 weeks ago deciding to go with Aguero into the lineup, and I like what he does. He's promising for the future. He looks like he understands adult basketball. It is a big change from junior basketball.
Well, he's only going to get better with the more he plays. He's got the length, he's got the athleticism. That's not going to help his case.
No. Yeah, he bit on the jab.
Only 20 years of age.
Yeah.
From Perth to Melbourne. A rim presence, but also the capability to stretch the floor. He's the scout.
Well, he's going to have this year to learn, and last year from the likes of a true professional with Dave Barlow. So there's probably no better place for him to start his career. And talk about learning from bigs. Jordan Hunter, you mentioned the season he's having. He came into the league. He was learning from Andrew Bogut, who was playing for the Kings, and Luke Longley, who was around as well. So great situations for the youngsters of Australia who continue to grow.
Especially when they show an aptitude already. They show a real potential for proficiency later on. And when they get that, Two big misses there.
Final minute of the half. Melbourne have got it back to within 8. Largely because of this man, Rajon Tucker. He liked it the moment it left his hands.
20-piece nugget in the first half, if you don't mind, Ruck.
3 of 7 from outside. 6 of 14 for the game. 20 to the half. What is Rajon Tucker building here, D. Rucker?
Well, we talked about it in the pregame. He is a very, very aggressive and threatening player when he gets it going like this. And I said that I didn't think that he really needed to score in the past for them to be in the game. They just needed his tenacity and his intent on making plays. And tonight, we're getting not only intent, but we're getting productivity.
Pete is fresh from a 27-point game against Cairns 48 hours ago. 4 of 7 threes that night, so he's played himself into some shooting form.
Well, he has. I mean, the last 4 or 5 rounds, he's been terrific and almost unstoppable. We know what he does out in the open floor, but he's matured a lot in the half court.
And Pete, in a league in which this season 3-point percentages are not good across the board, at 38%, he is one of the leading 3-point shooters amongst high scorers in the competition.
There was in a few weeks in where it was about 13, 14%, and teams were just daring him to shoot the 3 as much as he could in a game. I credit him to put in the work and stick to it.
You're right, Derek. Melbourne United lead the league in 3-point percentage, but at 36%.
And that's not great to be leading the league.
Here's a halftime present.
Rajon Tucker to really breathe life into Melbourne. The shot didn't go, but make no mistake, they're in this anyway. Down by double figures during the first half. Rajon Tucker delivers 20 points personally for the opening 2 quarters and gets Melbourne back within 6. Let's find Joe Healy standing by with Xavier Cooks.
Yeah, thanks. I've got Zabe with me. Zabe, a great start for you guys, but they came at you in the second there. How does it feel for you out there?
It feels good. I mean, we came out with the right intensity, but Tuck is killing us right now. I mean, he's been ultra aggressive. He hasn't passed the ball once, but I don't really blame him right now.
How do you stop him in the second half?
Put a crowd around him and do it through a committee.
Now, it's a special day for basketball. Can you give us a feel for what Christmas Day basketball is like and the energy from the crowd?
It's amazing. It's pretty cool to be part of history, but I'm going to try to win this game right now.
Good luck for the second half.
Let's get to know Sydney's star, Sydney's X Factor, a little bit better.
Sydney Kings playing host to Melbourne United on Christmas Day. It's a history-making night.
I'm excited for just something new, and I think it's going to be really good for basketball in Australia moving forward. But at the same time, I've got a little daughter, which kind of comes first. She's beautiful. She's really smart. She's 2. She's in the cheeky phase, but she's a lot of fun and keeps me on my toes. Most likely try and be there when Naya wakes up and do that whole deal, and then get ready for the game and maybe do it again on Boxing Day, another Christmas on Boxing Day. I don't even know yet.
That is enormous. Dunk of the year. My goodness. Get some of that.
The way I play with so much balled up energy, and I'm just always trying to release it pretty much. And in that one moment, I just throw it down and all this energy just explodes. And I always want to be that guy to play it cool when I dunk and not go crazy, but my energy and my emotion, I just can't help but scream.
This quarter is cool. Oh! Over Soto, if you don't mind.
I like the Kai Soto one just because I did a bit of a move and shook him into it and put him on his heels, then dunked on him.
He goes straight at the big boys. Cut that in the grill there. Yes, sir. We see you, Xavier Cooks.
The Isaac dunk was just, on a dunking standpoint, was better just because the body-to-body contact, I really yammed on him pretty bad, that one.
Cooks returns to the scene of the crime and hammers down another one.
Dad came to Australia out of college and played his whole career over here and had a great career, really good career. Played in Seabull back in those days and then played in the NBL. Retired in Wollongong and then got into coaching straight away. Just been around the game for a long time in Australia. I think I grew up in a whole basketball family. My brother played basketball as well, and my dad did a really good job of, he's a coach, but he never really coached me. He was just my dad, you know. I never saw him as that guy that's pushing me too far or anything like that. He was just a great dad to me, and we're just grateful for each other.
to the Hungry Jacks NBL. It is a Christmas Day special. The Sydney Kings hosting Melbourne United. The Kings leading by 6 after the first 20 minutes of play. It is such an amazing occasion here for basketball in Australia. A pleasure to be with you for this one. I'm Jo Healy alongside Pete Hooley, and we have a special guest with us in Andrew Bogut, Sydney Kings ownership group and obviously NBA champion as well. Bogues, Merry Christmas to you. Great to have you as part of the broadcast. Can you just talk to what you made of the game and what you've made of this occasion so far?
Well, it's the first time in Australian sporting history, so it's a start for us. We still would like to sell it out eventually if we have it next season, the season before, but we wanted to try something new. This has never been done in not only the NBL, but Australian sport, and we know there were some naysayers, there were some people pro and against, but we've given it a crack, and I think for the most part it's been a pretty good atmosphere.
Well, Bogues, it looks like the people have spoken, but the growth of the league in Australian basketball, we're seeing how high it's going to go. Dyson Daniels, Josh Giddey, the youngsters, but even the guys on the other end of their career, is this going to help the likes of Joe Ingles, Patty Mills to come and do what you did and finish their career off in the NBL?
Well, let's hope so. I mean, there's a lot of great players playing their trade in the NBA. As you get towards the end of your career, at least I know for Joey for sure, he's going to retire in Australia, so it might make sense to transition for another year or two, have your friends and family that generally didn't get to see you play, you know, they have to get on a plane to LA, it's expensive, you know, nice hotels, all that stuff, they can just come to the local arena and see you. So I'm a big advocate of it towards the end of your career. I think Bainesy's in the same thought process, and hopefully we can get more NBA players back in the NBL.
Well, a wonderful occasion today, as we mentioned. This is the first time we've actually had access to the Kings locker room at halftime, so these are actually live pictures. Folks, we'll have a look at the Hungry Jacks halftime highlights. No surprises, it's the Kings stars, Xavier Cooks, Derek Walton that are leading the way.
And Chase is much more calm in the locker room than he is on the sideline, funnily enough. So when the cameras are off, he's much calmer. But look, I think the Sydney Kings, being an owner and being part of this team, we're just going to finish quarters better. We allow teams to come back late in first, second, third quarters, and it costs us games. So, and Melbourne United, undermanned, obviously, CG 43 out at home in bed. I was just texting him and giving him a bit of strife for not coming to the game, but he's under the weather. Missing him, the effort they've shown to stay in this game is dangerous for me, because I don't want a team like Melbourne United and the form they're at to be within striking distance.
Now, Pete, Rajon Tucker is keeping Melbourne United in it at this point. What have you liked from him, and who do you need to step up and support him in the second half?
He's been terrific. He's been ultra aggressive for the last few weeks, and I think he's needed to do that. He was going to do this whether Chris Golding was playing tonight or not. This is just the kind of form he's in as we have a look at the head-to-head. Xavier Cooks, he's impossible to stop, and he's probably going to be impossible to stop for the rest of this game. I'd like to see Shaylee continue to stay aggressive, but Xavier Rattan-Mays, I think with Chris Golding out, he's got to get back to that first half of the season form and help put some points on the board.
Well, time for a quick break now, folks. Thank you so much for being part of the broadcast. Merry Christmas again. Now, we love a half-court shot here at the NBL. I reckon the two people alongside me have hit a couple in their time. This season, thanks to Latrobe, we are giving away a guaranteed 50 grand as we go to the break. Let's take a look at some of the fantastic entries.
All right. I'll have a sleep. I'll catch you all later.
Welcome to NBL Weekenders, a series where your favourite hoopers will jump off the court and onto the tools with help of the team at Bunnings.
Just pulling up at Bunnings. I think I need a new fire pit. Thank you. Probably 4 of these, perfectly around. This is me. We'll get this one in the car. You've made this trip so much easier because I had no idea. All right, 4 chairs done. Fire pit will just go perfectly in the middle here. Everything's matched up and hopefully it all finishes the way it started.
Pete Hooley, when you're not at Bunnings, you have to put up with the Yarra, Derek Rucker. You've got the Brisbane River. Here in Sydney, we've got Sydney Harbour. Almost as good as Wollongong Harbour, but Sydney Harbour shimmering today in glorious sunshine. And the Harbour City's team, the Sydney Kings, are in front by 6, starting the second half of this Christmas night NBL history maker. Can they go on with the job? It's been a comeback from Melbourne, who were down by 17 at one stage. Here they are in possession and right in the game.
And then Rajon Tucker goes right to work after an outstanding first half. But, Pete, you hate to see that kind of possession straight off the bat.
Well, I think this is where Rajon Tucker, for the first 2 minutes, just take a little bit of a backseat and see how they're going to defend you. No doubt at halftime, Chase Buford would have put all the emphasis on trying to slow that man down. He's got 20 points at the half, which, by the way, that halftime live footage of inside the locker room, love that. I hope we see a lot more of that.
Billy's shot jumps out. Isaac Humphries does enough. We're through Newley, and they'll reset here. Newley had to get the shot away. Didn't ever look comfortable.
Dean Vickman not happy, and rightly so. Another offensive possession that really went nowhere. I say Rajon Tucker should take a little bit of a back seat and try and survey the defense.
Oh.
Isaac Humphries gets another block.
4 for the game.
Well, I think they're under counting also. I think he's got at least 6.
So Sydney's D works. But who's going to settle first in this third quarter?
That's a good call. Nico Fernandez saw that. Brad Newley was. That's a veteran move, trying to slow down the break. Here is Isaac Humphries. Great wall up from Aquera. Allows Humphries to come across and do what he does best.
Did we thank the referees, Pete? Michael Aylen, Nico Fernandez, Daniel Troy. Hopefully the crowd's going a little softer on them than usual, given the occasion.
That was a great call.
Is Dejan Vasiljevic. DJ to his teammates. They collect the offensive rebound and send Xavier Cooks to work. Spinning baseline, guarded by Aquera. Vasiljevic. Hard off the iron and away.
Great defensive possession there by Melbourne United. Now they need to convert here. Get the ball through hands and try and come up with a really quality shot here, Pete.
Melbourne only had 4 scorers in the first half. Tucker, Humphries, Aquera and Illy. Obviously, Ray John leading the way. And off the glass, Isaac Humphries lifts his tally now to 10.
Perhaps not the shot that we wanted.
Not the execution,
but at
the end result.
At least you moved the ball and made Sydney play some defense.
Dodged a little bullet there. Miscommunication, Tucker and Aquera. Maybe Cooks had a dunk.
Walton. And Humphries, why does Sydney's offense look a little clunky at the moment, D-Ruck? What's going on for them? Here's Humphries off the glass, and the and one to come.
Well, I think Melbourne United up the ante with their intensity, and that always is the first step. Focus and intensity, and then that's leading to opportunities which they weren't taking advantage of early in the quarter, but now they've worked out their transition efficiency. Poor defense there from Walton Jr. The and one for Humphries.
A lot of it is they're kind of slowing them down, not letting them play out in transition, not taking too many poor shots or turning the ball over to let Sydney use their athleticism in the open floor.
He misses the extra, Isaac Humphries, but Brad Newley gets the rebounds. And here's Aquera. Big shot from Melbourne off the mark. Simon the board. So from 43-26 down, Melbourne are back to 46-44.
Good call there, but in that transition play, you could see Vasiljevic looking for the ball. He's starting to feel a little bit of angst. Currently 0 of 6 from the field, Matty. He wants a bucket, and he's that type of player. He feels he can hit his next 6 feet.
Yeah, he does, and he's one they need to get going. Went through a little bit of a rough patch shooting the ball, then turned it around. You know he can put points on the board quickly, and I tell you what, just quietly, back-to-back elite vision calls from Nico Fernandez. Looks like he's out of position, but he saw that through a bunch of traffic.
If you've joined us late, Melbourne missing their three-point sharpshooter, Chris Goulding, out tonight ill. Recently this season, with his 1,000th three-point make. To join esteemed company, you're on that list, Derek Rucker, for the 1,000 three-point makes. Take us inside the mind of a shooter when they're not dropping. How did you apply yourself?
So from my position as a point guard, I was able to do other things and get people involved and still have value in a game. But when you're a sharpshooter like Chris Goulding, who is no doubtly one of the top 10 shooters of all time, his attitude's just got to be the next one is going in and nothing other than that, Pete.
Well, it does, and that is the positive thing about DJ Vasiljevic. He always plays with that kind of confidence, that kind of swagger about him.
Xavier Cooks, the no-look pass for Jordan Hunter. Not his territory, but he can do it all. The big man says to the crowd, 3 presents, 1, 2, 3.
May have got away with a little bit of a shuffle on the catch.
Yeah, that was interesting footwork getting into that 3 ball.
Humphries. Nice agile move, so big man to big man.
From a skill perspective, this game has been quite sharp, Pete. We had a couple of possessions where the decision-making wasn't great, but overall, the guys look...
Isaac Humphries is having himself a night on the defensive end. 5 blocks, and I'm with you. They've sold him short. I think he's got 8.
I think so, too, but how many of these blocks does it take? As we hit the Amy replay here, Cooks tries to go up and finger roll, and even before it gets out of the hands, Humphries with great timing. But how many blocks does it take to eliminate one of those poster dunks? 4?
No, keep going.
5 in a game.
You're referring to the poster dunk early this season where Xavier Cooks absolutely slaughtered Isaac Humphries. I don't think 5 blocks makes up for it, but I'm happy to be corrected, Pete.
Well, 5 blocks in a game like this, ultimately, when we talk about poster dunks, we're talking Instagram. That's all you're talking about. So it's not going to show up unless we put a block package together.
Right.
Maybe we get a few bots on and get some likes and build it up as like the dunk that exploded social media.
That's a good question. Should ask our viewers on socials. How do you achieve parity? What's the mark for tonight for
He gets 8 blocks
Isaac
in a game.
Humphries?
You've got to tip your hat.
Well, as a team, Melbourne United have 7 block shots to the Kings 1. So excellent job on the back line there from Dean Vickerman's men.
Melbourne 9 wins, 11 losses coming into this game this season. They're 2-5 on the road, and this starts a run of 7 straight road games for United, while John Cain Arena is being used for the tennis. So wouldn't they love a comeback win here and some confidence, a 4th straight win, just to build into this road run?
Well, they've got to steal one from somewhere, Matty, because, you know, the Perth one could come back to haunt them.
Peatling.
This is what Melbourne United needed after halftime. Just other players other than Ray John Tucker to make plays. It doesn't have to be one person put up 20.5 themselves, because everybody else start to chip away.
It's a one-shot ball game as we find Joe Healy. We'll get back to Joe in a moment. Sorry, Joe, we'll just stay with the play here as Walton high off the board and away. Marcus Lee, the rebound.
Big possession here. They've got numbers.
Hunter strong through the air, making the rebound his own. Let's try again. G'day, Joe.
One, two, yeah.
Well, that's not Joe. That's someone in Christmas mode.
Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you be? Christmas night. Besides Santa doing his hammy, there's been a lot of positives.
In the country, 1, 2, yeah. So, inside the final 5 of the 3rd quarter. And 52 plays 49.
Well, I see young JoJo over there. She's almost ready to fire.
Has been a lot better defensively on Melbourne United in this third quarter. Now offensively, Ray-John Tucker sitting down. Who's going to be the one to tick the scoreboard over?
Is it Rathan Mays? Can he get going? Or young Zach Triplett? There's your answer.
Oh, boy.
Wow. He caught and shot that thing like Grayson Allen.
He's got it. He's got a stroke. Ain't no doubt about it.
His bio reads dangerous outside presence, a dangerous inside presence. He's Jordan Hunter. He does it inside and outside.
The game's lifted, Pete.
Well, it has, and I think they got that hoop because Chase Buford was close to calling a timeout after that last made three from Zach Triplett.
Aren't we seeing some development players get some time? That's not the greatest highlight after his triple a moment ago, but the league as a whole, we're seeing development players step up and deliver.
We've got Sean Bruce and Jordan Hunter who see Zach Triplett on the replay. They're begging Chase Buford to have a look at this. There's a challenge, and we're going to get it. We're going to get a Christmas Day challenge from Chase Buford.
Is it worth it, Pete?
Well, you'd have to be 100% confident in both of your players that this is going to go your way, because there is no chance that Chase Buford could see it.
There's 3.5 on the shot clock.
You're not saving a foul from a key player. You're not saving points from the free throw line, and you're right. It was going to be a rush shot anyway. I think they may have a strong case because it looked like it was a quick reaction from Melbourne United to try and get the referees on board.
So Sydney challenging the out of bounds, the possession call here. Ooh. Does that ball brush the leg of Marcus Lee after coming off Galloway or Bale?
Awfully hard to tell.
And the other interesting thing was, did that ball strike and just nick the front of the rim? I mean, I know they can't go back to that, can they?
Well, I mean, it's going to be tough to see whether that hits Marcus Lee on the hip after coming off Galloway.
We got referee Michael Aylen right in front of us. Ask him, Pete.
Oh, he doesn't get to look at it. Come, Mike, come and have a look. Come have a look. We'll flip the monitor.
So Calder's coming off Jalen Galloway, but has it licked Melbourne after that. Michael Aylen, over to you.
On review, the coach's challenge is successful. The call on the floor is overturned. It comes off Newley at the end. Purple ball.
There you go.
Great challenge, Derek Rucker.
We were looking at the wrong person.
Challenge. I couldn't see the angles, and, you know, we know how this goes, Pete.
Well, in the end, it's a very gutsy challenge because you're right. What are you saving? I mean, in the end, you got it right.
Very fortunate, but fortune favors the who? The Brave, Pete.
Oh, I knew that answer. Okay. I thought it was rhetorical.
Travelling called on Jordan Hunter.
In the end, it means nothing.
And a fist bump from Mason Peatling. The body language from Melbourne is looking better and better the longer Christmas Day goes.
Well, you see a mistake like that, and that's just due to the pressure that they were putting on Jordy Hunter out top, where he's not entirely comfortable. And also, that's got to be the next stage of his development, where he can handle the ball out there, make sure the offense continues to get through its paces.
This is going to be an interesting 3.5 minutes here. Xavier Cooks, he's playing the 5 spot on Marcus Lee.
Rathan May is trying to shake Galloway. Shea Illick, he gets enough of a look. Triplett cleans up, still there for Melbourne, and they lose it. Xavier Cooks downhill for Sean Bruce, bang!
That's why it's a dangerous couple of minutes. You've got a guy playing in the centre position who can lead the break like that. Rathan Mays did a really good job to put his body in front and not let him rise up for a dunk. But you've got to find everybody who's running to the three-point line ready to tee off.
And I've got to find Joe Healy. Joe.
Yeah, just listening into the Melbourne United timeout there, guys. Great energy coming from the camp. Dean Bickerman just running the guys through some sets. XRM really involved as well, talking up the guys. And just on the debate of parity between Xavier Cooks and Isaac Humphries, I mean, yes, you would tip your hat to Isaac for getting 8 blocks, but I don't think anything other than another poster is actually going to level the score.
I think many fans will agree with you, Joe, as we see the Euro-stepping Xavier Cooks drop 2.
And this is the value of Xavier Cooks. At any point, he can take over, Pete. And if he's not playing like he's the best player, he can instantly become the best player.
Well, the MVP conversation is going to heat up right towards the end of this incredible season.
You're going for Mitch Treat.
Well, we watch Xavier Cooks put on a show like this, and I think the problem with the MVP is recency bias does sneak into it. Mitch Creek's been phenomenal. I think right now he's probably got that edge, but you also mentioned that Xavier Cook's most impactful. I think we're all forgetting about the greatness of a man out west. It just quietly is the Perth Wildcats continue to roll on. So does Bryce Cotton.
Multiple league MVP, just lurking in the background, waiting to swoop in over the top. I don't know what you're driving at the moment, Derek Rucker, but you've got to try the MG ZS EV electric car, valued $44,990. Really, it's worth $144,990. NBL.com.au/WinMG. I can see you and that jacket behind the wheel of the electric MG.
And you know, our colleague, the great Andrew Gaze, I see that he's worked his way into
a test drive to start with. You know what that leads to.
Test drive, yeah, test drive. So
to bring us back.
You know what? I'm too old to have shame now. If you guys need me to do a similar thing up in Brisbane, please hit me up. The Rockstar on Instagram. I'm there.
All I know is we're having a look at Xavier Cooks. This is what happens. He's playing against Marcus Lee. He's going to be too quick, too agile against the true centre in Marcus Lee. And he did test drive at Andrew Gaze, but I've seen it parked at his house since.
It was charging up the other day.
Yeah, you tell me. Exactly right. He posted on Instagram with a charging port in the house. Who puts a charging port in the house for a test drive? You tell me, Matty.
I had pictured the extension cord out the back, down the side of the house, up the street to where you could find a park.
I mean, look, he was persistent. He's been working all season on trying to get his hands on the wheel of an MG. So it's good for him.
That's okay, because if he wants to take that promo, I'll take the Latrobe one, and we'll go from there. So I'll take the 50K. He's got the car. You guys can split the rest.
If viewers have joined us late, there's the jacket we're referring to. How slick does he look? Thank you, Matty. 411 gamer, just behind my shirt. I've got you placed at the moment. We'll go from MVP rankings.
We're not putting enough emphasis on the tinsel here, by the way. It's really underdone.
We've got a game here, 61-55. Vasiljevic.
He thought it was good too, man.
More than that, it looked good through the air. I think DJ liked it. Galloway likes that one. Jalen Galloway.
Love Jalen Galloway's game. He is a star on the rise, as is his brother in Adelaide.
Saw him last night. See the Galloway brothers back-to-back, and here is Jalen feeling confident, back-to-back buckets. The fans are out of their seat. A nice little run by the King.
And Pete, you called it when Xavier Cooks came in at the 5 spot. Since then, Xavier Cooks, I believe, has had 4 points and assists that led to a 3, and has gotten on the rim and made a significant impact in this game.
Well, we make big calls all the time that certain players are unguardable. Xavier Cooks plays the 5 spot. He's unguardable on the offensive end.
Ray John Tucker off the mark. They get the loose ball, Illy. Xavier Ratan Mays, shorts, and it will go the way of the Kings. We heard Andrew Bogut at halftime say we've got to finish the quarters better. We're letting Melbourne get a run at the end. Well, Sydney have heard the call.
Yeah, they have, and this is a terrific end to the third quarter. It has been, as soon as Xavier Cooks went to the 5 spot, he looks gassed as he walks around, but as soon as the ball finds its way into his hands, he'll pick it back up. And let's not forget, a couple of games ago, they had that collapse against Tasmania in the 4th quarter, just scored 9 points. They scored 6 points, and there's a charge. Vasiljevic doesn't like it.
October 9, Sydney trounced Melbourne 91-71, so a 20-point win. A couple of weeks later, 87-69, Sydney over Melbourne, so an 18-point win. It's a bit closer right now, but Sydney will look to maintain this momentum despite the Vasiljevic charge.
Well, here comes a couple of late subs just to give Xavier Cooks an extra breather. He was spent, put everything into those last 2 minutes.
Very fruitful 2 minutes.
What a handover from the inbound. Straight to the hot hand of Jalen Galloway. What a quarter. The 19-year-old has delivered.
Yeah, these points in the NBL for Jalen Galloway are never going to come easier than that. A gift, a Christmas gift on a platter for an athlete.
And the crowd now asking for that sort of urgency, that delivery, that gift at the defensive end. And they might get it here. It's hard for Melbourne. Newley just has to throw it up off the mark. And we reach the end of the third. A flurry at the finish for the home team, the Kings, delivered by Jalen Galloway. And all of a sudden, Coach Buford is breathing a little easier. The Kings 68, Melbourne 55, and the fans, they're feeling festive right now.
Merry Christmas to all the Kings fans out there. Hope you have a good day.
Merry Christmas to all the NBL fans out there. Hope you guys are enjoying a great holiday season.
To my family, friends, the whole of the NBL and the fan base, I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
I just want to wish a Merry Christmas to everybody. I really hope you guys enjoy this day with your family.
Merry Christmas to all the Kings fans. Of course, my family and friends back home. Hopefully you get to spend it with those that you love and care about. And of course, happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho.
It's a beautiful Christmas night in Sydney. Look at that, Sydney Olympic Park, slap bang in the middle of the greater Sydney metropolitan area. Is the sun setting on Melbourne United? Well, they'll need a big start of this final quarter. Drifting behind by 13 again. Their biggest deficit of the game, 17.
Travel.
And Ray John Tucker didn't score in the third quarter.
And we knew they were going to put a lot of emphasis on him after the 20 points in the half. And this is where the outs start to hurt Melbourne United. Chris Golding to help tick the scoreboard over in the third quarter. But that play right there, David Aquera in the corner, that's normally Dave Barlow with his feet set, that if they try and help off Ray John Tucker getting downhill to try and turn the corner for a layup, Dave Barlow has his feet set, ready to shoot the three ball.
And speaking of three balls, they went 2 for 13 again, Melbourne United, in that third quarter from the three. And that hurts on the offensive glass right there.
This man might have heard a couple of the MVP conversations during the week. I don't know whether you doubling down on it off the top, but Xavier Cooks is having himself some sort of night. 19 points, he's got 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Absolutely led the charge in that last 3 minutes.
He's so dangerous. He's got athleticism, natural talent, intelligence, and motor. And when you put all those things together, you get excellence.
And a few hurdles to clear. Injured ankle last game. Daughter 3 days in hospital leading into this contest. Plenty of distractions physically and mentally, and he comes out and delivers this performance.
That's what we talk about, mental toughness amongst your leaders, the ability to come out. Humphreys is trying to get his back. Pete, I think he's had enough of you knocking him with the dunks. Humphreys is trying to get him back.
Super efficient, 7 of 10 shooting, 16 points for the game. Vasiljevic, a nice runner.
Finally got one because the guards have not shot well in this game for either team. That's Vasiljevic's first bucket. He's 1 for 7. Derek Walton Jr. is 1 for 9. Shea Illy's 2 for 10. Brad Newley's 0 for 3.
Melbourne into this game on their best streak of the season. 3 straight wins, fighting to try and keep it going.
It's going to count. 2 points. Rajon Tucker didn't score in the third. Gets an early one here. Just gets the contact, and he does that so well. He showed that all the way from the preseason, where he takes a bump but can still finish because he's got incredible strength. Look at this. Takes the bump and then a bump again. Still good enough to finish that and go to the line for a bonus.
Now, camera operators doing a fantastic job on Christmas Day. As we mentioned earlier, all the team, Felix, Joe, Pete Hooley, Derek Rucker, and the behind-the-scenes crew bringing you Christmas Day hoops. Showing these athletes in spectacular fashion. Galloway couldn't get that big end of the third quarter to continue early in the fourth. Thought about it, Rajon Tucker. Down by 14. The possessions at the moment crucial. Okwera, big bucket for Melbourne.
And he should have done that the first time when he had his feet set in the corner and ended up travelling. You got your feet set and someone makes a play. Got to trust your ability to shoot that rock.
I mentioned David likes this gym. He's up to 10 points again. Now, Vasiljevic. And a soft rebound there for Cooks, who again will go to the line.
Poor discipline there. There was no need to hack down on him. It was going to be a tough shot, even though it was relatively close to the bucket. It's our Amy replay. You see David Okwera catch and load, and that's nice action right there. He's got his feet set, straight into the stroke bucket.
Second one of the night. That's why you've just got to take the open ones. And look, I don't mind this because he's 4 of 9 from the free throw line. Instead of getting him an easy bucket, make him go and earn it.
I've heard it said already this season that he has NBA tools, this man Xavier Cooks, but the free throwing is one area that needs to be worked on.
I mean, it's probably the main one because the way he's shooting the free ball, he doesn't take a whole lot of them. And he continue to work on it. We know he is putting in the work. And of course, we question his free throws, and he makes both and never look like they were going to miss. But that's the one. That is the one. He's got every other tool in the box, and he knows that. He continues to get better year in and year out.
I could hear groans from Melbourne as soon as we questioned his free throwing.
Oh, travel first. Oh, Isaac Humphries thought that there was a foul call. He's shocked.
Dean Vickerman's shocked. Isaac Humphries bitterly disappointed. Still a long way to go in this final quarter. Plenty of time for Melbourne to make another run. They had a shot not so long ago from Okwera to take the lead. And then Galloway stepped up. There's a whistle.
Yeah, not a bad foul because it stopped the layup.
So it'll be a baseline inbound. Sideline. Cooks called by Glover, and they combine again. Defensively in the first half, offensively right there.
Chase Buford called that play from the sideline, and as soon as that pass went to Angus Glover, turned around to his bench and just started laughing. Well executed. That's exactly what you want as a coach, to see your team do exactly that after you've called for a certain play.
And aesthetically a pleasing little centers. Tucker finds his range again, Matty.
Yeah, Rattan Mays, he just hasn't been able to find his shot against Sydney all season. None of 7. And we've seen him so energetic, so athletic, so productive for Melbourne this season, but against Sydney, not so much. Cooks, he doesn't get it to everyone.
You can see the matchups here. It's an interesting game of chess right now from Dean Vickman. Does he go with the length that's similar to Xavier Cooks and put David Okwera on him? Or do they go with the strength of Isaac Humphries? So either way, you think Xavier Cooks, he'll find a way to find his advantage.
Tucker given an eternity, maybe too long. He left it short. Ruckan Mays, he'll just keep firing. There's one, and hallelujah on Christmas Day to Xavier Ruckan Mays.
Well, it'll be interesting, Peter, to your point, Marcus Lee is about to check into the game. And is he coming for Humphreys or Aquera?
I don't think we've seen the Twin Towers in a game yet since Marcus Lee's been signed.
By Tower, Suarez getting the rebound for Walton Jr. to go straight back at United.
That's a big bucket right there. You could feel United starting to increase in belief, thinking we might have a chance to get back into it. Offensive rebound, 3 ball.
So best part of 6 minutes still to play. Sydney 82, Melbourne 68. So the crowd not able to celebrate the win just yet. 14 is a very handy advantage. The next few minutes, Pete Hooley, crucial for Melbourne. Can they have a little mini run to set up the grandstand finish?
Well, they've shown the ability not to go away in this game a couple of times where it looks like Sydney are about to blow it open. They're going to need something spectacular because, unfortunately, the one guy who normally does that isn't playing. So someone else has to help out Ray-John Tucker. He's got 25 points. Who's going to be a playmaker outside of Tucker in the final stretch? I'm not sure.
The Kings teaming with the Salvation Army this Christmas Day. Two great organisations. Thank you to the Salvos who do so much for so many at this special time of year, many of whom unable to be surrounded by loved ones or are doing it tough. The Salvation Army is there to help. Melbourne United need some help right now, and who is it going to be? So 5:44 left. Melbourne hanging on by their fingernails as they chase this 4th straight win. Triplett has had some nice moments. A late call-up in the absence of an ill Chris Golding. Golding, get well soon, CG 43, and they turn it over.
Bit of a telegraph play there from Shea Illy. That's just got to be a layup. I know he struggled to shoot the ball. And Suarez knew that was going to be a lob to Marcus Lee.
Walton left his 2-point shot short, then can't clean up as he slips.
David Aquera just quietly, first career double-double. He's been really good, shining light. As you mentioned, Ruck, they've gone with him to continue to grow this season. Super young, bright future ahead of him. He'll always remember that. Christmas Day for the first double-double.
First double-double, timely.
Remember your first one?
My first double-double in the NBL? No.
1991?
1990 it would have been.
Okay, your first year.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was giving you 1 year to start feeling it as Tucker continues to feel it as he has done all game.
Pete, it's an 11-point game, half a quarter to go. We've seen crazier things happen, right?
Absolutely.
NBL is up crazy every week.
Oh, Tim Suarez, that's his zone.
What a pass. Gary Walton Jr. The perfect timing. So Suarez, all he had to do was go up and dunk it, and the defense was always going to be late. Another look away. By the time Marcus Lee could contest it, the ball was already in the hoop.
And great footwork by Suarez, gathering himself, getting his hips low, so on the catch, all he's got to do is explode upwards and stick that ball through the bucket, Pete. Could you vert, Pete?
I had one of the best ball taps of all time. An open air guy. There you go. The leather underneath.
Yeah.
All mine.
Shea Illy ducking and weaving. Ray-John Tucker, does he keep delivering for Melbourne? That shot is short, and Suarez gets enough to knock it towards Kwatnoi.
And it seems like the scout right now in Ray-John Tucker from the Sydney Kings is they're going to go under every ball screen. Yeah. Does not matter. He's hit 5 threes, but he's taken 14, so...
The American-Brazilian, Tim Suarez. It's spelt soars, and he is soaring Tim Suarez.
Oh, boy. Tim Suarez, we're so used to seeing Xavier Cooks getting upstairs.
And again, watch how he prepares himself off a great dish. He's down on the catch, Pete, and waka!
That's 211 centimetres, so 6'11" in the old scale. And airborne at full reach.
And again, it's
He's
Derek
way
Walton
up.
Jr., but that is a nice pass, better finish. He loves it. Why wouldn't you?
Let's go to Felix von Hoff with a very, very special guest.
Oh, Matty, I think you've even understated it. Front office royalty in the NBA. R.C. Buford, the CEO of the San Antonio Spurs, and if you haven't noticed the lookalike here, the father of head coach Chase Buford of the Sydney Kings. How proud are you of what he's doing out here in Australia?
It's really amazing for us to watch him grow, to see him get better, to see he and Paul and Chris build the team. We're humbled and honored to be able to support him.
And now we've seen antics from Chase like we've very rarely seen from another coach, and it's cool when you're winning games, and he's doing just that in this league. Where does he get that from? Because some of the stuff we've seen on the sidelines is absolutely wild.
You know, he's been watching Pop for a long time, so I can't tell. You know, he's passionate. He really believes in his players and believes in supporting them, and he's also really competitive. So he's got an opportunity to grow probably, but he loves this game.
And you're here to watch your son, but is that a bit of a Trojan horse to maybe do a bit of scouting for the Aussie talent we've got over here? Xavier Cooks, Justin Galloway, maybe we'll see them in the NBA one day?
You know, I enjoy watching Australian basketball. I've been coming here since 1997, so this holds a real special place in my heart, and the NBL is a really competitive league. You can see all the players in the NBA that have played in the NBL now, so this is a real treat.
Well, you're a legend in the basketball world, but you also know how to spend an Aussie Christmas. If you just zoom out a little, RC's just brought his own esky to the corporate box. Now, if you know how to spend an Aussie Christmas, that's the way, but we got a bit of basketball left, so back to you, Matty.
Oh, thank you. Well done, Felix, and welcome, RC, to Sydney, shining its all its glory over the last couple of days. And, yeah, legendary San Antonio Spurs GM delivering 5 NBA titles, including NBA Executive of the Year 2014-2016, R.C. Buford.
Well, personally, we talked about the antics of Chase Buford. I love it. I love the emotion. I know that he's been honest saying he's got to reel in a little bit, and I absolutely love it. You know who doesn't love it? The LED screen down in Tasmania. That's about it, I think.
Correct. But players love that when your coach is fully behind you and's got your back. Look, he might get into them every now and then, but ultimately he supports them and he wants them to be good.
Well, this is an interesting move here from Dean Vickerman. Callum Dalton.
Correct.
He's only played a couple of minutes this season. He was 3-ball against the Bullets, coming off an ACL, thrown in the last couple of minutes here. 13-point ball game.
But in that game against Brisbane, had one 3-point attempt and made it. Aguera, he's making threes, and they need a few of them now. 10 the difference. 3 minutes left.
Got to shoot your shot.
No sense in waiting. You got a good look at it. He's playing well tonight.
Vasiljevic doesn't need an invitation, but he'll get one to walk much closer than where he just shot that ball from.
Just an inexperienced play there from Triplett. Closes out improperly, gets a hand in and fouls Vasiljevic, someone who we know is a superb shooter, but tonight has not been sharp at all from outside the three. The kick out pass, and that's just sloppy, ill-disciplined.
Hand in the cookie jar.
Yep.
So 3 shots coming for DJ Vasiljevic, and you have a chance to whopper your way to LA thanks to our sponsor, Hungry Jack's. Just get hold of the large burger meal, enter your receipt code, and you get 4 tickets to a basketball game in the States, flights, accommodation, and spending money. Not enough spending money to buy beer rubber jackets, but enough spending money to have some fun nevertheless.
Well, Pete's got the whole crew. He needs at least 10K, huh, Pete?
Well, I've told you already. I've got the Latrobe 50 in my back pocket. Ray John Tucker. They're shooting their shot. Gonna have a crack now. He has had himself some sort of night. 31 points, 5 rebounds.
His season high is 33 against Southeast Melbourne.
And I'll tell you what, you know the best part about having the first game on Christmas Day? That's going to be the highest score we've seen on a Christmas Day game. We don't have to go to the stats.
You set a record.
Don't have to go to the history books. There it is right there so far, and he continues to build it.
31 points, 10 of 24 from the field, including 6 of 15 from range.
And a good little stint there from Callum Dalton.
Just something different.
Didn't hurt the team.
How do you approach this, Derek Rucker? Well, there's the answer. John Tucker, he's just going to keep blazing away. But 10 the difference.
I would have done the same thing to answer your question, Matt. I would have let it fly.
And now Walton is fouled in the act of shooting.
Team Bickerman got the youngsters out there because they are going to let it fly. Kind of play with that confidence, see what can go down during that interview with Felix. That deep 3-ball from Zach Triplett. Aquarius hit one, Ray John Tucker continues to fire away.
So United with the 5 fouls already. Sydney with 1 more to give. So if they're smart, Sydney in the box seek to just close this out.
That's been a better fourth quarter because we had mentioned, we heard Bogut during halftime. Closing quarters in particular has been a bit of a question mark for the Kings, but especially fourth quarters. That 9 points against Tassie, and then a couple of days before that, just 6 points in the fourth quarter against the Breakers.
They applaud as Sydney move closer to their 12th win of the season. Throwing the heat back on the ladder-leading New Zealand Breakers. In action tomorrow against Tasmania as the hoops roll on in the NBL. Galloway quickly to Suarez. And Vasiljevic, he says, let's get going.
He was due one, but he wasn't finishing Christmas without one.
The difference 15 again. Ray John Tucker keeps on shooting. That would have taken him to his season high. Illy, ugly shot through the air, and Humphreys gets the rebound and then loses it baseline.
And Ray John Tucker has gotten up 17 threes tonight, Pete.
A lot more than we expect him to take, even though he is shooting the ball well.
If I know these Sydney players, they'll want a big, boisterous finish to reward the fans who've come out on Christmas Day, Pete. And this crowd, nearly 9,000. Outstanding. There's one box ticked in the Christmas Day experiment.
Oh, it's been unbelievable to be part of. Hopefully it continues to build year in and year out. And as we mentioned, a big thank you to everybody involved to help get this game up. And a big thank you to the teams for putting on a show for us.
It's been outstanding. The game's been high energy. Full credit for to the players because they have played with a lot of passion and enthusiasm. It's awkward trying to come out here on Christmas Day. You don't know how to feel. It's a new experience for everyone. And the unknown can often present tightness and unpleasing to watch basketball. But this has been fantastic.
Big day for the NBL, a big day for Australian sport. And of course, the NBA has 5 Christmas Day games coming. Some American football as well. It's long been a treasured tradition in the States to play on Christmas Day. A real honour.
They've got 4.5 games, the NBA. Golden State plays tomorrow. I'm not sure if you've been seeing how Golden State have been playing.
They're not exactly at the point they were when Andrew Bogut was with them in 2015.
No, there's no Steph Curry either.
Yeah, I don't think that will be watched.
Maybe watch the warm-up ready for the Tassie New Zealand game.
Good to see Jackson McCoy, a development player, out there for Sydney to enjoy some court time on a special day and maybe score here. Draw the foul with the and one to come. Good on you, Jackson. The 22-year-olds.
There's a technical foul here on the bench from Melbourne United. Somebody had something to say. Michael Allen was standing right there. So this is going to count. And now there's a technical foul.
And we heard him verbalize that call of the technical while that ball was in the air. And I like Jackson McCoy. He's a very good-looking prospect.
So as Vasiljevic goes to the line, Xavier Rattan-Mays is in that huddle looking on. He might not win the game, but he's had a big 48 hours. Xavier Rattan-Mays, Pete Hooley might just tell the audience what has happened for Xavier over the last 24 hours.
Unfortunately, he's going to lose this one, but proposed to his partner last night who said yes. So I know he might have lost the game, but he's won in life. So congratulations to him and his soon-to-be wife.
The Christmas Eve proposal.
McCoy wants the ball. He's like, give it to me. I got to get some buckets here.
Dying seconds as he slips, goes to Galloway. Tim Suarez, the fake to beat Peatling, and then he puts 3 in the hole. The noise reaches fever pitch at Kudos Bank Arena as the Kings raise a century and salute their 12th win of the season. 12-5. Christmas Day glory for the men in purple.
They had to get the job done. As soon as Chris Golding wasn't going to play, you thought the Sydney should get this win. They were made to battle for the majority of this game. The last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter kind of put it to bed, and what a big performance. And they gave the fans a nice Christmas treat.
And of course, it's hard. It's not only Chris Golding's shooting, but it's his playmaking, his poise out there on the floor, the gravity that he plays with and commands from the defensive side. So, you know, I thought Melbourne United did a decent job for probably 2/3 of the game. But noticeably, you know, when you look at the plus-minus out there, Tucker had a -1.
He was outstanding.
He was a -1 in a 21-point loss. So, you know, he did his bit, Matty.
Missing some pieces, Melbourne, on the quick backup. They fought hard. They got back within a shot after trailing by 17 at one point. But in the end, Sydney's freshness, Sydney's crowd, and the occasion that is NBL on Christmas Day gets the home team over the line. 101-80.
Sydney Kings. I'm ready to give this. This has been a massive success to me. What a pleasure to be part of it. The fans have spoken with their feet. They are loving it.
Yeah, and they're hanging around. They're very happy and excited for what the team did. And full credit to the Kings to come out here and put on a very professional performance. I really couldn't fault anything on the evening, gentlemen. It's been great working with both of you.
You haven't given me my present yet, so that's the biggest fault. But we've still got time.
Apologies.
I'm looking through the Kings stats sheet here. So many players getting on the scoring list. We've got 5 of them in double figures. Xavier Cook's leading the way. Jordan Hunter, Justin Simon, who opened the game scoring, Tim Suarez, Derek Walton Jr., as has been the case in all of their games against Melbourne, Derek Rucker. It's been a team performance, plenty of assists on your made baskets.
And this was a game that the Kings needed after some sketchy performances over the past month. A lot of things going on, a lot of variables, but coming out of this mini Christmas break, now they can start building up, because there's really only 6 to 8 weeks left in the regular season, Matt. Teams need to wind it up and start really building for the playoffs.
The Foot Locker player of the game is standing by with Joe Healy, courtesy another double-double, Joe.
Yeah, exactly right, Matty. 24 and 11, Zave. A historic night for basketball in Australia. How special is this win?
I mean, it was really special. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, especially on Christmas Day. It means a lot to us.
You had a great performance personally, but can you speak to the depth of this team? Because a lot of your teammates stepped up.
Unbelievable. I mean, everyone wants to talk about me and Derek all the time, but like the other guys stepped up tonight. Jordy Hunter was unbelievable. JG was great, and DJ, he's the best shooter in the league, and he made one tonight, so we're happy for him.
I know you've had a tough couple of days with Naya, but she's here. How exciting is it being able to play in front of your family? And I take it Santa came this morning too?
I couldn't hear all that, but yeah, it's great to have Naya here and smiling again, so yeah, it's good.
Christmas night, how are you celebrating?
Driving back to Wollongong and probably get some rest. I'm exhausted, to be honest with you.
Well, go and enjoy it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Well played, Xavier Cooks. Well played, the Sydney Kings. Now 5-3 at home, 12-5 for the season. Thank you for sharing some of Christmas Day with us. We're not done yet. After the break, the team wraps up the highlights as NBL experiments on Christmas Day.
First Christmas game. Have you
those entertainment that you wanted on Christmas Day, you got it right here at Kudos Bank Arena. If you're a Kings fan, maybe the stocking was a little bit sweeter than if you're a United fan, which was filled with coal after a 21-point loss, Joe Healy. But it was the man that you just spoke to, Xavier Cooks. I think he's just shot himself to the top of MVP contention after that game.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. A wonderful win for the Kings, of course. As for Melbourne United and their season, their 9-12 finals, a little bit harder at this point, but as you said, Xavier Cooks, he was dominant tonight. Melbourne really struggled to stop him, especially in the paint.
Well, it was tough for Melbourne, of course. A man down, well, two men down, Dave Barlow, but especially Chris Golding, who loves to light it up against the Kings. He's made for moments like this. The Christmas Day game, Channel 10, live. Unfortunately, sick at home. You could see that it was painful at times for Melbourne on the offensive end.
It certainly was, but in terms of basketball, I think the sport wins today. It really has been an amazing occasion. Credit to everyone involved. A shout out to Kings CEO Chris Pongos, who's sick at home. He couldn't be here, but he put so much into it. So we thank him as well. It's just been awesome.
Oh, there's some fantastic people fronting these clubs. Of course, Paul Smith at the Kings, the owner. He brought the little dingly hat and the Hawaiian shirt. An amazing performance. Ray John Tucker brought it as well. But I'll tell you what, we'll be back tomorrow for more NBL Hoops. Merry Christmas.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Warehouse.